Hello everybody and welcome back to another online Chinese history class with me, Tony. Last class we reviewed Tang changing the rules of passing down the throne and changing the rules of changing the king to ensure the Shang dynasty would last longer than the Xia, specifically 84 years longer. Now, if you remember, which you should, Tang is the first king of the Shang dynasty, and he's the one who had the idea of overtaking the Xia dynasty because the last king, Jie, was too bad. Today, we're going to talk about another one of the Shang dynasty's greatest accomplishments, and that is Chinese writing or Chinese characters. They are called oracle bone inscriptions, and they are the oldest Chinese character. They are a kind of pictographic character. But what exactly are pictographic characters, though? Now, I'm going to give you 3 answer choices so you don't have to search in the dark or go on Google and search for it. No, don't do that. A. Pictographic characters are characters that represent abstract ideas of a certain thing. Or B. Pictographic characters are characters that are drawn to show the literal image of the thing that is being represented. Or C. Pictographic characters are characters that are shaped according to the pitch and sound a thing makes in certain situations, like a rock dropping on the floor or a grass being cut. Think about this for a couple of seconds. The correct answer is going to be B. Pictographic characters are characters that are drawn to show the literal image of the thing that is being represented by the character. What this means is it's basically a simplified drawing of the thing it's representing. As you can see in this picture over here, the top row is the oracle bone inscriptions. The middle row is the things that it's trying to represent, and the bottom row is the modern Chinese characters. As you can see, there are a lot of similarities between the top row and the middle row because the oracle bone inscriptions are just simplified drawings. Now, option A is actually another type of character called ideographs or ideograms. It's a character or symbol that represents a concept or an abstract idea. Through the creation of the oracle bone inscriptions, people started writing things down and recording history. This is why we know so much about the Shang dynasty, like why they were the ones to create currency, and why they overtook the Xia tribe, and names of the kings and all of that. There are also 2 other uses of the oracle bone inscriptions: fortune telling and predicting the future. Back then, the Shang dynasty people believed in gods, ghosts, and destiny. People believed that if everybody listened to the gods, then they would live a good life. And they had to listen to the gods because they set the people on their path and they control their fate and destiny. And if you piss them off, well, they just bend your destiny into something else and it just very bad. Let's just simplify it to that. However, normal people could not communicate with gods and they didn't know what to do, and they didn't know if something that they've done is right or something they're about to do is right or correct. So they hired the so-called sorcerers. Sorcerers are said to have ways to communicate with the gods and therefore predict what would happen in a person's life. But kings and princes also hire sorcerers for advice from the gods. For example, if they make a change to the law, is it right, or should they attack other tribes for more land, or maybe change the capital? But how do they really do it? Why do all of these kings and all of these people ask the sorcerers to do that? What's special about it? What is their method? How do you think sorcerers predict the future or tell one's fortune that nobody else knows? Well, I'm going to give you 3 answer choices again. A. They carve oracle bone inscriptions into animal bones or turtle shells and burn them over a fire and wait for cracks to appear. The cracks in the bones or shells will tell them about the future. Or B. They carve oracle bone inscriptions into animal bones or turtle shells and put them in an extremely cold temperature to freeze it. Then they use a hammer to break the frozen bone or shell. The inscriptions on the biggest piece will tell them about the future. Or C. They carve oracle bone inscriptions on the floor and put sacred vases with oracle bone inscriptions on them around the floor. Then they perform a ritual in the middle of the vases and while touching the floor. After that, they break the vases onto the floor and form a connection between the oracle bone inscriptions on the vases and the floors to know about the future. The correct answer is A. Now this was an interesting question, wasn't it? All three of these three answer choices, they sometimes do seem bizarre, but the sorcerers did in fact carve oracle bone inscriptions into animals' bones or turtles' shells and burn them over a fire and wait for cracks to appear. The cracks in the bones or shells will tell them about the future. Now you may ask, how? Do cracks form another oracle bone inscription? Well, no. The cracks separate certain characters and form lines between some others. With this, the sorcerers would have what they need to know about the future, or what the kings and princes need to do, and should they attack or change capitals. And, yep, that's it for today. See you all next time.